Hey, what's going on? Welcome to this video. My name's Leaf, and a couple of weeks ago, I experienced something bad. I would say it was a little traumatic for me. And when I experienced this bad thing, I started noticing I had a lot of these negative anxiety-inducing thoughts. Thoughts such as, oh my god, what am I going to do with my life? What if this is the future? Oh my god, all these negative thoughts. And it really put me in a bad mood for a couple of days, actually. In fact, my friends noticed that I was in a pretty bad mood very consistently. And it got to the point where I was just so sick of having all these negative thoughts because of this event, all this anxiety and everything. I decided I wanted to do something about it. And I watched a coaching call, a pre recorded coaching call from my coach, Armin. And during this coaching call, he taught this one person a concept called moment to moment consciousness. And when I learned this concept, it absolutely blew my mind, so much so that I started applying it right away. And one thing I noticed is that as soon as I started applying moment to moment consciousness with my everyday life, the anxiety that I was feeling basically lessened so much to the point where I felt like it wasn't even there anymore. And it's so effective and it was helped me so much so that I want to make a video, this one right here, where I'll show you, if you deal with anxiety of the future, how to go about managing it using this idea called moment to moment consciousness. All right, so let's get into it. Before I tell you exactly how to do it, I need to teach you a fundamental concept, because if you don't understand this concept I'm about to show you, then everything else I'm going to be explaining to you won't really land as hard. So I want you to picture this. Picture two lines, okay? One of the line, let's call it moment to moment line, and the other line, let's call it the anxiety line. Let's focus on the moment to moment line for now. Just stay with me here, okay? So in life, you and me, as you're watching this exact video, as the seconds go by down below in the time bar, you and me are sharing this exact moment. The moment I'm recording this video, you are probably doing something with your life, and some person in China is doing something with their life. An elephant all the way in India is experiencing this exact moment. The moment that I'm recording this, the moment that you're watching this, we're all sharing this one exact moment as time goes by. Now you're watching the recording of this video. I'm probably doing something else with my life at this point, but what you'll notice is everything in the universe is sharing this exact moment in this overall passage of time, moment to moment to moment. Now the thing here with these moments is that no matter how much we try to overthink things or try to like manipulate it in our heads, no matter how much we do that, every moment that we experience is essentially inevitable. Meaning, the moment that you and I, or you watching this video, or I will have in 10 seconds from now, I won't be able to change it with my mind because I don't have universal bending powers or anything. It is essentially inevitable that I will experience that moment in the future coming up. And no matter what I do, no matter how much thought I put into it, I will experience that moment, and it is completely inevitable. So remember, moment to moment, we are constantly living from one moment to another moment to this exact moment, and everything in the universe, a lizard in my building, not that I have lizards in my building, you, me, some person in China, an ant in South Africa, an elephant in India, whatever it is, we are all sharing this moment to moment to moment to moment. We're existing almost as if we're one with everything, like this idea of oneness between all of us. We're just experiencing it moment to moment to moment. Now, here's the catch, okay? Now, we as humans, we have a tendency to be in our heads, right? We're the only conscious creatures that can essentially think about the future, project the future, think about the past, reminisce about the past. And no matter how much we live in our heads and try to change the past or focus on the anxieties of the future, no matter how much thought we put into it, we are inevitably going to be experiencing moments. And the thing is, while we're experiencing moments, if we are living in our heads, right, throughout the moment, we are not being present or conscious of this moment that you and I are sharing, because our heads are like in this different place where it's like, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh my God, what will this mean to me? And we end up spending the whole day living in our heads instead of living in the present. I hope I'm making sense here. Now, here's the key. You see, when you and we live in our heads rather than the moment line, when we're in our heads and we constantly reminisce about the past and we constantly think about the future, that is essentially where suffering lies. If you think about it, oh my God, the future, what is it going to mean? Oh my God, right? We just keep creating pain for ourselves. Or if we think about the past, oh my God, why did I do this? I should have done this. I should have done this 6 years ago. All these thoughts, right? We are in suffering because we're living in the future and we're also living in the past. And the key here is, because we amplify things with our head, the pain is more excruciating. For example, let's say I have my arm here, right? And I hit it. Oh my gosh, that hurt, right? In the physical, real world, this is painful. But let's say I add my thoughts to it. Oh my God, it hurt my hand. Oh my God, what does it mean? I'm a bad person. The pain will be there. And what if this happens again in the future? It'll happen 10 more times in 10 minutes from now. I'm going to keep getting it. Oh my God. You see what's happening. I'm amplifying the pain, the physical pain with my head. So the pain is even worse, 10 times worse because I added my thoughts to it. And then that leads to overthinking and the pain becomes even more and more because I added a mental aspect to it. Again, living on the not the moment to moment line, the other line. I forgot the name of it, but you get what I'm saying, right? So pain is essentially amplified when we put our thoughts and ideas behind what we are experiencing. Now, here's the key. So, given that we live moment to moment and every moment is inevitable, and given that humans have a tendency to live in the past and the future or live in their heads, and that's essentially where the suffering is, how do we take this concept and help us manage and control our anxiety? First, what you want to do is, let's say you're catching yourself spiraling into a bunch of thoughts. What you want to do is first catch yourself, notice that, hey, I'm actually living in my head right now instead of this present moment. And what you want to do is decide what sort of solution or problem or what you're going to do to solve that sort of anxiety in your head. Decide on it, commit to it, and then bring yourself back to the present and focus on the actions that you are doing to overcome that anxiety. Let's walk through an example here real quick. Let's say you are struggling to make money in your business, in your freelance marketing business or whatever it may be, and you're constantly thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to pay rent, and I'm not getting clients, right? This is how you want to process it using moment to moment consciousness. First, the anxiety, the thoughts that will hit you and bombard you in your head, right? I've literally been there myself, so I know exactly what that feels like. And that can lead to a lot of spiraling thoughts. What you want to do is, okay, catch yourself. Okay, I am spiraling right now. What is one action that I can do right now to help me get clients so I can pay my rent? Oh, I can prospect on LinkedIn. Great. That is essentially what I'm going to do. Now that you've identified that this is the action I need to take to calm this anxiety, now you need to bring yourself back to the present and then start focusing on prospecting on LinkedIn. So then you go on LinkedIn and you put all your focused attention on exactly what you are doing. You ever hear those people say, be present, be mindful, live in the conscious world, just be present, right? That's essentially how you wanna live. You wanna basically be so focused on the task that you're not overwhelmed by the thoughts. You wanna bring yourself to the present moment and focus on the day-to-day tasks that you need to do in order to overcome those anxious thoughts. You see, the problem here is when we live too much in our heads instead of the real world. Because the truth is, you can prospect on LinkedIn to get those clients, right? But no matter how much you think of it in your head when it comes to the anxiety and everything, no matter how much thought you put into it, it won't change a thing. It'll only make the suffering even worse and worse and worse. So to overcome that suffering, you want to be present to the tasks and what you are essentially doing. Be so focused in it that you're just entrenched in the work itself, because you know if you consistently do this activity, it will eventually lead to clients and you'll be able to pay rent. Whereas if you constantly think, what productive use of is there for all that thinking, right? Let me give you another example just to really solidify this idea in your head. I had a friend WhatsApp me, and she had experienced something really bad, and I offered to drive all the way to her place and to keep her company because she was going through something really bad, right? And usually the drive to her place would take about 30 minutes or so. But for some reason, I decided to drive there during rush hour. And as I was driving there, I realized, holy crap. And the GPS said 2 hours instead of 30 minutes. So I was there thinking to myself, and you've probably been in a similar situation when you're on in like traffic and everything, and you're like, oh my god, I hate this, and you're grumpy throughout the whole traffic ride, and it ends up ruining your mood by the time you get there. Have you ever been in that situation? I'm pretty sure you have. Then you know exactly how it feels. But here's what I did a little differently, which actually blew my mind. So there I am in the traffic, and I'm about 15 minutes into my ride, and I realize I have 1 hour and 45 minutes left till I get there. That means driving through tedious, horrendous traffic for an hour and 40 minutes before I can get there. And usually the before me, if I was in this situation, I would constantly be like, oh my god, why didn't I leave earlier? Why didn't I leave? Why? Thoughts. And then the headaches come, and I'm pissed off, and I'm groggy, then I'm hungry all of a sudden. And by the time I get to where I want to go, I'm just in a horrible, shitty mood, right? But this time I'd used moment to moment consciousness. So instead of thinking about, okay, well, I have to get there, it's inevitable that I'll have to go through this traffic. So that's a done deal. I can't change this no matter how much I think about it. I cannot change this. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to be present during the traffic. All right. So what I did to bring myself present in that traffic so I'm not lost in my thoughts is, so you see in on my steering wheel, there's like a fuzzy, I have fuzzy steering wheel cover, and what I did during this traffic rush hour was, instead of living in my head, I started rubbing the steering wheel soft fuzziness cover with the tips of my thumb. So I'm literally doing this the whole ride, and I try to put as much attention as I can to how that little thing feels against the surface of my thumb. And I would just feel like focus, like, oh my god, this feels really fuzzy. Then I would look around, and I started literally reading license plates. CLJN. Oh my god. I started noticing like little dust particles on license plate. I started noticing little trinklets of snow on my windshield, and I started counting everything, and I felt so present and in the moment. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to an audiobook. I turned on an audiobook, and I listened so intently to every sound that came in as I was driving. And you know what the crazy part is? By the time I got there, I was in like a good mood. I was like, huh. My friend was like, hey, are you good? Like, you just went through 2 hours of traffic. And I'm like, yeah, I did. It's all good. How are you? You know what I mean? Instead of me like, oh my god, it was so bad, complain, all these negative thoughts. None of that. In fact, I was very calm. Can you imagine my friend, like, well, I came over and I was pissed, and she was going through bad times, and it just leads to an explosion or something. So that's a practical way of how I applied moment to moment consciousness so that I don't get lost in anxiety inducing thoughts. Anyways, with that being said, I hope this video was helpful. So again, if you're ever caught in anxiety-inducing thoughts, try to use this moment-to-moment consciousness to help you overcome them. Just keep in mind, this is not a cure for if you suffer from like severe anxiety or depression. This is definitely not a cure. This is if you just feel like you have moments of anxiety or just losing yourself in thoughts and you want to be more present. So again, the key is when you're going through anxiety, decide what you'll do about it, then bring yourself back to the present. Anyways, my name is Leaf, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, be sure to subscribe to this channel, follow me on social media, and I will see you, my friend, in the next video. Peace out, my friend. Peace out.